Sometimes you just don't want to slog out 100 hours for a platinum trophy, and you're too busy tackling life, and you just don't want that excessive grind or challenge. You just want to kick back with a great game, have a good experience, and also get a platinum trophy along the way. And that's why I've made this video. I'm going to be talking about 15 fantastic games that you can complete in under 15 hours. Not bad, right? Now our first game is tied to a up and down series, Planet of the Apes. Some people love Planet of the Apes with Mark Wahlberg. Some people didn't. The reviewers definitely didn't. But the new 4 films that have come out are really fantastic. And this game, Planet of the Apes: The Last Frontier, is kind of canon to that universe. I don't know if it actually is canon, but it exists between the second and third movie. So what is it? Well, it's a narrative simulator, but it tells a really cool story. You know, you take control of this group of little tribe apes who are just, you know, kicking back and having a bit of drama in between themselves. And there's also a big group of humans who are having their own issues because, you know, most of them are all dead and they're trying to survive. And these monkeys keep rocking up and slapping everybody about. So, you know, they've all got their ongoing issues, and it's choice-based, where your choices actually make a difference and they actually change the story massively. Some of the choices actually come down to which character is going to become the protagonist for certain acts, or the final act and the ending of the game. It's a really cool twist. It's not by any means going to blow you away, the story, but the animation's pretty good, and I do think it's a compelling story, and it's just a good time. There's only 6 actual trophies that aren't missable for beating the story, and the rest are all choice-based. I recommend you just play the game, try and be good one playthrough, and then when you go back, you do a bad playthrough, and you probably have most of the trophies. You can do a few cloud saves as well. It'll only take you between 6-7 hours to get through the story once. I mean, if you want to go through it again and do the cleanup, which you'll have to do because obviously the choice making decisions for some of the trophies, it's a good time. I would recommend it a lot. Next, we've got Ape Escape on the PS5. I think, judging by the amount of remakes we see in film, gaming, everything, I think we can all agree that nostalgia sells. And Ape Escape was a fantastic game on the PS1 back in the day, and they brought it back on the PS5. Run about, catch some apes, have some lols, have an easy platinum trophy. It'll only take 8 or 9 hours, and you can live in some nostalgia. And if you didn't ever play the game because you were too young, well, you can kind of get an idea as to how far gaming's come, shall I say. Speaking of remasters, remakes, our next game is Crysis. Back in the day, the test of how good your PC was whether or not your game could run Crysis, because it was so demanding. In fact, it's still, even though it's been remastered, it's still a little bit buggy. A little bit buggy, I'm not gonna lie, on the old PlayStation, but the game is really, really good. The game is fantastic. I only ever played Crysis 3, so going back to Crysis 1 and seeing a different story and seeing how good it was for the time it came out. The way the game works is it's mission-based, but every mission is basically open world, and the worlds they've built are actually really fantastic, and the game does look stunning. It looks stunning back when it came out. It's a little bit different than most first-person shooters because of the open world, and also because of the nanosuit. You basically have 2 modes. You have stealth mode and you have armor mode, so depending on how you want to tackle the mission will then depend on which side you want to use more, the armor or the stealth, but you basically end up using both of them all the time because one of the trophies is for beating the game on hard. Now, it's not particularly hard, but it's... I remember! Oh my god, what the fuck? That was the first enemy! But there's definitely a few sections that will challenge you.
There's mines in that field, guys.
In particular, the last level just has this massive jump in difficulty, like crazy. But the rest of the game is pretty easy. I found the first hour to be pretty hard and the last hour to be pretty hard. But when you learn how to use the stealth and the armor abilities, you actually find that it is a lot easier. But it can't just run and gun on the hard difficulty because it's not just a first-person shooter. It's also a first-person shooter with these very specific abilities that you have to apply to survive because you do die very quickly. It's a pretty important game for gaming back in the early 2000s or mid-2000s, so I think it's worth a shout if you haven't played it. And it's a platinum that will only take you about 12-13 hours. It'll push you a little bit in certain sections, but not too much. Next is Cat Quest, a game that has become so popular, they've actually onto their 3rd game in the series now. It's essentially an over-the-top RPG dungeon crawler. You take control of a little cat, and I don't think I've ever met anybody who has had a bad word to say about Cat Quest. There is collectibles you have to pay attention to. There is going to be some mechanics that you probably haven't played for a while or ever played before unless you've played these style of games. But these type of games are just, as long as you explore, the game's a good time, and just take your time with it. It's only a 10-hour platinum trophy. The game can be beaten in like 6 or 7 hours. So you just sit back, relax, take your time and explore the beautiful world and get a platinum trophy. Alright, number 5. I've got a question for you. Do you drive?
I drive.
Yeah, that's gotta hurt.
Our next game is Burnout Paradise, and I think this game kind of has 2 different types of people who know about it or don't know about it. This doesn't make any sense. No, it doesn't make sense. I feel like people who know about Burnout Paradise know about it People who don't know about it obviously don't understand what the big deal is about it, but if you know about Burnout Paradise, you know that it's just like iconic on so many levels. When I think of racing games, I always think of Burnout Paradise. Even though Burnout isn't one of the biggest hitters in the racing scene, like Forza or Gran Turismo, it's still iconic. It is the game where you could just pick it up, do all the races that you could in a normal game, except when you crash your car, you absolutely crash your car. It allows some great experiences, some good mechanics in there. It's a good time, it's just a laugh. Platinum Trophy is just very story-based, race-based. You probably will need a buddy to help you through some of the online trophies, but it's not too bad, and if you like racing games, this is just like the most chill racing game you can play. It'll take you like 10 to 15 hours to get the platinum. Next, we've got a game that was free on PS Plus a couple months ago, and that is Tunic. I haven't got the platinum trophy in this one. I am one trophy away. I have 99% completion, and I'm just waiting to do it because something happened. I missed a collectible. There is collectibles in this game, but that doesn't take away from the fact that this game is absolutely fantastic. When I first launched the game, I was actually blown away by how beautiful it is, and the main character you play, the little fox you control, is just adorable.
I mean, this game just looks goddamn beautiful. Look how adorable it looks. Look at that little brave, cute little fox, man. Look at him run. Oh, he's adorable. Oh, he can do little combat rolls. Oh my god. Oh my god. He can just like dive through little bits of grass. Oh my god.
People have described it as like a Zelda game in a sense of there's no guidance on where to go. There's no real description as to what the abilities are, what the weapons are, what the weapons you need. Well, they are in the handbook a little bit later on, but you have to find the pages of the handbook to know what's going on. It's very much a case of just go out there, explore, see the world, try and get into some combat. And the combat in this game starts out very simple. Very simple when you've just got a little stick or no weapon at all.
Oh, epic roll. Oh my god, it's like being a Dark Souls. Yeah. Oh my god, this is just so chill. There's an enemy. L2. Oh my god. It's like a Dark Souls boss. You gotta never stop rolling. Never stop rolling.
And then it becomes quite complex when you start teasing around with a little dodge mechanic, I tell you that. It creates a few sweaty situations.
But that's simply not possible.
Why isn't it possible?
But on the plus side, you actually can just turn on God mode, which means that you actually just can't die anyway, so it depends on how much challenge you want. I did a bit of both. I found that the early game was really easy. So in the mid game, when you didn't quite have all of the gear and the enemies were harder, and you die and you get sent back about 10 minutes, that's why I found it to be a little bit frustrating. But the beginning game and the end game is pretty darn easy. It's just that little 2-hour window, because the game's really short. With a guide, you can do it in like 4 hours, but without a guide, you just need to take your time. If you explore everything, you'll be okay. You do have to check basically these things called effigies. There's a trophy for having all 10. There's only like 12 in the game, and I had 9, and I missed one, and I was just like, oh, I need to go back and find it. Nah, I was gonna have to use a guide, and that's kind of what put me off a little bit. I think in hindsight, I probably would just left them all, and then when I finished the game, just did a little cleanup run, but it is what it is. I'm gonna go back and do it because I do think the game is just beautiful, and I would still really recommend this one. Next, we've got a game that can be played in co-op or can be played completely by yourself, and that is Overcooked All You Can Eat. So this is a combination of Overcooked 1 and Overcooked 2 put together on the PS5, and it is by far the easiest one. It's essentially a cooking game where you control 2 chefs to make orders, or you control 1 chef and someone else controls 1 or up to 4, and you just basically go around the map. You have to produce so much food in every level to get so many stars. In the original game, there was no platinum trophy, and you had to 3-star every single level, and it did prove quite challenging. But on this one, you only need to get a certain amount of stars, which you would probably get by just 1-starring every single level, so it is a lot easier. Overcooked 2 had some really hard DLC, and again, all those trophies tied to the DLC have been removed. It's just basically earning stars now, so it's actually incredibly easy. All you've got to do is play the game for like 6 to 10 hours, depending on how good you are, and you'll basically get the platinum trophy. It's just good with friends. It does test teamwork, it tests communication, but also you can just do it by yourself. It's just problem solving by yourself, and it's still a good time. Next, we've got the best Telltale game, I would say. I haven't played The Expanse, so ignoring that one, and this is the Game of Thrones Telltale. If you want to kick back, watch a narrative story, and then become incredibly mentally scarred at the decisions you've made and what's happened, then Game of Thrones on Telltale is for you. Of course, it's set in the Game of Thrones universe. You take control of a smaller house within the world, and essentially there's just loads of shit going on with it. Basically, there's loads of stuff going on. A lot of horrible stuff does happen to some of the characters. This is the only Telltale game I play which has big decision making. There's certain characters you can keep alive who then become main characters in the last couple episodes, and it really builds up and up and up. The only downside is it does resolve, but it also ends a little bit on a cliffhanger. Like you kind of wanted to see what would happen next, but this game came out like 8 years ago, so we aren't going to find it out, but it does resolve enough, and it's just a great story. And if you like Game of Thrones, you do have to like Game of Thrones, I would say, because if you don't like Game of Thrones, you're not used to the kind of Game of Thrones, oh no, know, someone just died for no reason kind of vibe, then it might be a little bit difficult to play, but it's still great. Next, we've got The Order 1886. Again, that was a launch title for the PlayStation 4, and at launch, it was pretty hated. People didn't really like it, let's be fair. I think this is purely because it was a 5-hour game for like £60 when it came out, and there was not loads to play on the PS4 at the time, and you're kind of like, well, I've just bought this game, and I've finished it in 4 hours. I get that, this game is worth like £10, and that's how much it is now. It's still got a pretty good story. Everything about it's kind of like a 7 out of 10. But the story is different. It's about werewolves and magic and this order and stuff, and I enjoyed it. The game does look beautiful even today. So there is still something worth playing here. I just think it wasn't worth the £70. I think the £10 mark for an 8-hour platinum trophy, good experience, you know, weekend a day. It's a good ride. I would recommend it. Next, we've got a PSP remaster, which is Pursuit Force. This game is absolutely fantastic. I remember playing this game back in the day. You're essentially this super cop in this new special team, and your job is to take down all these different bad guys. 90% of it's basically driving, but it's got this special thing where you can just kind of leap to cars.
What?
When you're going like 60 miles an hour down this road, alright, the guy can jump over to the car in front of him, so he must be jumping about 100 miles an hour, because if you he must be jumping like 100 miles an hour, because if he's already going 60 and jumps forward, he's got to be going faster than the car, which is, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty stupid, but it's just really fun. It is quite hard. You have to learn the mechanics of the game. You have to learn, like, you get boosts by bashing enemies and things like that, and there's certain levels where you kind of can't use all the abilities. It's definitely got a few hard missions in. It's definitely from the era of where games were just harder, I would say.
Alright, hey guys. I'm just gonna kill you. Oh, fuck! Oh, fuck! Right. Let's try it again, shall we?
But with it being on the PlayStation 5, there's a rewind feature, so if you make too much of a mistake, you can rewind up to a couple of minutes, and that doesn't always help, because sometimes you've actually made a mistake very early on, and you have to then just replay the level. But I enjoyed it. It's probably the hardest game on this list, I would say. Some of the last levels were really difficult. Well, I mean, difficult. I say it's probably a 5 out of 10. I don't think anybody couldn't not beat it. It might push you a little bit. I have live streamed this, so you can watch my live stream on that to see how much I struggle with the first couple levels. The first couple levels start off really hard, and then it becomes easier as you actually understand and get more things introduced. And there's also this like bit where you're on foot, and the bit on foot is just absolutely wild. It's just so weird, but also it's so good. It's like so bad that you just run around like really rigidly, and there's enemies shooting at you from every direction, and you've taken like 800 rounds to the chest, but you're still going, because when you cuff somebody you get a health boost. It's pretty stupid, but it is just got this massive charm about it, so I would really recommend this one, and this one's on PS Plus. Next, we've got High on Life. Honestly, the funniest game I've ever played.
You're gonna have to use the brand new double jump to get over there. Oh shit, I'm sorry, Buck. I forgot there's no double jump, just crouch. You gotta try
For
crouching.
fuck's sake.
It's made by people who made Rick and Morty, and is a first-person shooter where you're like a bounty hunter, and basically human race gets captured because all these aliens want to vape them, essentially. It's just bonkers. It's got some of the funniest one-liners I've ever seen, and it's also got some of the funniest conversations I've ever had in a game.
I got illegal things for you. Come over here. You
Okay.
can buy illegal things from me.
What's that guy
What are
yelling
you selling,
about?
bro?
Illegal stuff?
Yes, what's up? My name's Stan, and I sell vials
Hi,
of
Stan.
alien cum. I know that's probably not what you wanted to hear when you walked over here. You wanted cum or what?
Do we look like we want cum? You sell alien cum, I'll buy some cum. How's business? Well, I guess I'll buy some
Fucking
cum.
hell yeah, we'll buy some alien cum.
Wow, you just went right for it. Didn't even ask any questions. Didn't even ask how much it costs. I knew I was right about you.
The platinum trophy is really easy. There's like 2 missable trophies, but they're really easy. All you've got to do is talk to someone like 3 times throughout the 6-hour story. The trophies were a little buggy, but I think they've patched it now. The guns and stuff are just absolutely mental. The game is just so bizarre, and it's just so funny, but weird, but funny.
Okay, so to continue on the insanity that is this game, this new gun creature shoots out small children that fight for you, which is just excellent. Case in point. Go, my children. It's on him. It's Chuni's arm. That is just ridiculous.
But you can use me to get into the weapons crafting center. Hope that's not annoying to say or anything.
He's also very annoying, apparently.
Like, I think it's the funniest game I've ever played. It's very much on my type of humor. If you like Rick and Morty or South Park, you will enjoy this game. If you hate them, then maybe not. Next, we've got Aerial Knight Never Yield. This one is the fastest game on this list. It is about 1.5 hours to 2 hours to beat. And essentially, it is a 2D parkour game. Yeah, it's like a running parkour game where you basically just have to run the end of the level. You can slide, jump, dash. All you've got to do is beat the game. There's like 10 missions. All you've got to do is beat them and change your skin a couple of times. But I found this really relaxing. It just was very pretty therapeutic, just learning the easy levels and just then beating them. You got a good sense of achievement. The DLC is a little bit harder. I haven't done it because I couldn't be bothered, because you've got to like do this wave mode and you've got to last about 8 minutes, and it's like one mistake and you're dead. So that one's a bit more difficult, but the base game is like 2 hours and it's literally like a 2 out of 10, I would say. We've then got Donut County, another really adorable indie game. You essentially play this like void in the floor, which your goal is to just get bigger by destroying and eating more buildings. You know, you start by eating like a football and then like a little shed, and then before you know, you're eating like consuming this giant town. And it's just got this really quirky story about the basically people being afraid of the creator, and then you're just there doing all this stupid stuff. It's really sarcastic, it's really funny, it's like 5 hours. If you've never heard of this one, it's definitely worth the play. Next is Tekken 8. I made a video beating every Tekken game. I've spoke about Tekken quite a lot because Tekken 8 is one of the best games I've played this year. There's only really 2 or 3 games that even rival this. I play great games every year, but Tekken 8 is just kind of like in my brain, just for how much it made me love fighting games. All you gotta do is beat the story and do their arcade modes and things like that, all the offline modes. You've got to play like 10 games online and that's it. You don't have to win. I think you have to win 1 game online. It's really easy, and it is the best fighting game I've ever played. The mechanics are just fantastic. It's so good. I mean, there's this new weird season pass that brought out, which is just very like, you know, give me your money, gamer. Your £80 wasn't enough, give me more. Besides from that, I just didn't let it take away from how great and complicated fighting is for Tekken. And I spoke to a few fighting gamers who are way more advanced than me, because I'm not advanced. I'm definitely intermediate. I was definitely kind of getting there towards the end. I was beginner getting into intermediate. I wasn't like advanced, but I just loved the whole loop of it. And they were saying that like, although Tekken is more complex than Street Fighter, it's also easier to pick up, which I 100% agree, because once you learn one character, the skills you pick up from that one character can be applied, but every character is so different. So my advice to you is just pick a character that looks cool, or pick a character that has moves that you think are cool. And then just spend 10 hours with them. You really need to put the time into one character to enjoy this game. If you're just trying loads of different characters, you'll just never really enjoy it. And I played Tekken 6, 7, and 8, and when I played Tekken 6, it took me a while to start enjoying it because I really had to sit down for like 4 or 5 hours and try and master one character, or at least learn all their moves. If you've never played a fighting game, it is the perfect game to jump into. And if you haven't played this, but you like fighting games, then what are you doing? Because you're missing out. Our final game is Scars Above. Now, I haven't platinumed this game or played this game personally. I do own the game, I have bought the game, and I plan on playing it eventually because I've heard nothing but fantastic things about this game. It's a short, story-driven, third-person sci-fi horror game. So it can give you a little bit of spooks, but I don't think it actually is that scary. That's just kind of what they say it is. You essentially just make your way through all these missions. The game looks stunning and it has some interesting combat where certain enemies are weak to certain elements and certain guns you have. So you've got to use a little bit of smarts to make your way through it, but it's not hard at all. And there's a really compelling story here that everyone always tells me is just absolutely fantastic, and I just keep putting it off, and I don't know why, because it's literally 7-hour platinum trophy. It's like a 2 out of 10, so it's not like it's hard at all. So just don't be like me, just play this one, and then if enough people play this one, I probably will play it. Hold me accountable. And there you go, games you can platinum in 15 hours. If I missed any, make sure to add them in the comments for other people. And of course, I have loads of list videos like this one, so if you want to check out a different list video, go for it.